As they sat by the window, the cafe buzzed with activity. People chatted, laughter filled the air, and the sound of clinking cups created a warm atmosphere. Alex sipped his coffee, feeling the rich warmth spread through him. It was comforting, just like the conversation with Mrs. Johnson. "Do you come here often?" Alex asked, genuinely curious. "Oh yes, I've been coming here for years," Mrs. Johnson replied, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. "This place holds many memories for me. I used to come here with my husband. We would sit right at this table, watching the world go by." Alex smiled, picturing her sitting there with her husband, sharing moments that had filled her heart with joy. "It sounds lovely. Do you come here alone now?" Mrs. Johnson nodded slowly. "Yes, but I don't mind. I enjoy my own company, and it gives me a chance to meet wonderful people like you." "Thank you," Alex said, feeling a blush rise in his cheeks. "I'm glad I could help you today. It was a little scary crossing the street, but I'm happy we made it." "Oh, it was terrifying," she exclaimed, her hands gesturing as she spoke. "But you were so brave. You know, young men like you are a rare find. You remind me of my grandson." "Really?" Alex asked, intrigued. "How old is he?" "He's about your age, 23. He's studying hard to become a doctor." "I'm so proud of him," she said with a smile that radiated love. "That's amazing. Doctors make such a difference in people's lives." Alex replied, thinking about how his own mother often spoke about the importance of helping others. "Yes, they do," Mrs. Johnson agreed. "But you know, kindness comes in many forms. It doesn't have to be grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as helping someone cross the street." Alex nodded, understanding her point. He felt a sense of warmth in his heart, knowing that his small act had made a difference in someone's day. After a while, their conversation shifted to lighter topics. They discussed favorite movies, books, and even the latest trends in fashion. Alex chuckled as Mrs. Johnson tried to remember the names of popular musicians. "I can't keep up with all these new artists. They change every year," she said, shaking her head in disbelief. "I feel the same way." Alex laughed. "But you know, I think music is timeless. Good songs always find a way to touch our hearts, no matter when they were made." Mrs. Johnson smiled, appreciating his perspective. "You're wise for your age, Alex. You remind me of my husband. He always found beauty in the simple things, just like you do." As they enjoyed their coffee, the cafe slowly emptied out. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm golden glow through the window. It was getting late, but neither of them wanted the conversation to end. They both felt the bond forming, an unexpected friendship that had begun with a simple act of kindness. Suddenly, Alex's phone buzzed in his pocket. He glanced at the screen and saw a message from his friend. "I should probably check in," he said, pulling out his phone. "Oh, go ahead," Mrs. Johnson encouraged. "I'll just sit here and enjoy my coffee." Alex quickly typed a response, assuring his friend that he was fine. As he looked back up at Mrs. Johnson, he noticed her watching him with a thoughtful expression. "Is everything all right?" she asked, genuine concern in her voice. "Yeah, just my friend wondering where I am," he replied. "I told him I'd be home soon." "Family is important," she said, nodding. "But so is making new friends. You have to balance both." "True," Alex agreed. "I'm really glad I met you today, Mrs. Johnson. It's nice to connect with someone who has such great stories to share." Just then, a young barista walked by, clearing tables. She paused and smiled at Alex and Mrs. Johnson. "You two seem to be having a great conversation." "It's nice to see." "Oh, we are," Mrs. Johnson replied, her eyes twinkling. "This young man helped me cross the street, and now we're sharing stories over coffee." The barista smiled warmly. "That's wonderful. Kindness always makes the day better." "Yes, it does," Alex said, feeling proud. "We should all do our part to spread a little kindness every day." After the barista left, Mrs. Johnson looked at Alex with a serious expression. You know, Alex, people often underestimate the power of a single act of kindness. It can change lives, just like how you helped me today. I believe that, Alex replied. Sometimes, it's the little things that make the biggest difference. As they sat there, lost in conversation, the cafe's ambience felt magical. The connection they shared was special, and they both sensed that this meeting was just the beginning. They discussed making plans to meet again, maybe to help others together, or simply to enjoy another cup of coffee. Eventually, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the floor, Mrs. Johnson glanced at her watch. Oh dear, I didn't realize how late it's gotten. I should probably head home. Let me walk you to your car, Alex offered. He stood up, eager to ensure she was safe. They left the cafe, stepping back into the bustling street, now dimly lit by street lamps. As they walked, Mrs. Johnson shared more stories about her life. Alex listened intently, feeling grateful for the chance to hear her experiences. Each story revealed her resilience and strength, inspiring him even more. When they finally reached her car, Mrs. Johnson turned to Alex with a grateful smile. Thank you for everything today. You've made my day brighter. I'm glad to hear that, Alex replied. It was my pleasure. As they said their goodbyes, Mrs. Johnson reached into her bag. I want to give you something to remember this day, she said, pulling out a small notebook. It's just a little journal, but I hope you write about all the wonderful things you do. Alex accepted the journal, surprised and touched by her gesture. Thank you, Mrs. Johnson. I'll make sure to fill it with kindness stories, he promised. With one last smile, they parted ways, each feeling the warmth of a new friendship. As Alex walked home, he reflected on their encounter, knowing that sometimes the most beautiful connections come from the simplest acts of kindness. The next day, as Alex walked through the busy streets, he felt a newfound sense of purpose. The journal Mrs. Johnson had given him was tucked under his arm. He smiled, remembering her warm smile and the way her eyes sparkled as she shared her stories. After class, he sat in the park, eager to write. He opened the journal, the blank pages waiting for his thoughts. He began to jot down their conversation, capturing the essence of Mrs. Johnson's wisdom. He wrote about kindness and how it could change lives. Suddenly, a familiar face caught his eye. It was Mrs. Johnson, walking slowly with a smile on her face. She spotted Alex and waved. There you are, she exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. I was hoping to run into you. Alex stood up, feeling excited. Hi, Mrs. Johnson. I was just writing about our conversation. Oh, really? She said, a proud smile spreading across her face. What did you write? I wrote about how kindness matters and how helping you made my day better, Alex replied. And I mentioned that you gave me this journal to fill with stories. Mrs. Johnson chuckled softly. That's wonderful. I'm glad you're using it. Writing is a great way to reflect on our experiences. As they walked together, Alex felt a warmth in his heart. What else do you think I should write about? He asked, eager to learn more from her. Well, she began, how about writing about the people you meet? Each person has a story to tell, and every story teaches us something. That's a great idea, Alex replied, jotting it down. I want to learn about different experiences and perspectives. Exactly, she said, nodding. Life is full of lessons, and sometimes the people we least expect can teach us the most. They continued walking, sharing thoughts on life, dreams, and challenges. Mrs. Johnson shared her experiences growing up, talking about the changes she had witnessed over the years. Alex listened intently, amazed at her resilience. I remember when I was your age, she said, her voice filled with nostalgia. The world was different. There were challenges, but there was also hope. We learned to support each other. Alex nodded, feeling inspired by her words. That's what I want to do, he said. I want to help others and spread kindness, just like you. "I see a bright future ahead for you, Alex," she said. "Remember, it's the little things that can make a big difference." Just then, they came across a small community garden. It was filled with colorful flowers and fresh vegetables. The sight made Alex smile. "Look at that. It's beautiful," he exclaimed. Mrs. Johnson smiled back. "Yes, it is. Gardens are a symbol of growth. Just like people, they need care and attention to thrive." "I'd love to volunteer here," Alex said, feeling a pull towards the idea. "I could help plant flowers or pick vegetables." "You should. Volunteering is a wonderful way to meet new people and learn from them," Mrs. Johnson encouraged. "And you can write about your experiences in your journal." "I will," he said, excitement bubbling inside him. They continued walking, sharing ideas about the community and ways to make a positive impact. Eventually, they reached a nearby cafe where they decided to grab lunch. As they settled into a cozy corner table, the server came to take their order. Mrs. Johnson ordered a light salad, while Alex opted for a sandwich. While waiting for their food, Alex pulled out his journal again. "I want to write down more ideas about helping others," he said, flipping to a fresh page. "Great. What do you have in mind?" Mrs. Johnson asked, leaning in with interest. "Maybe I can start a community project," Alex suggested. "We could organize events to help people in need or clean up the park." "That sounds fantastic," Mrs. Johnson exclaimed. "You're already thinking like a leader." Alex felt a surge of confidence. "I really want to make a difference, even if it's small." Their food arrived, and they dug into their meals, still deep in conversation. Mrs. Johnson shared her thoughts on community service, emphasizing the importance of giving back. Alex felt inspired as he listened, taking notes in his journal. After lunch, they strolled through the park, enjoying the vibrant atmosphere. Children played on swings, and people walked their dogs. Alex pointed out a group of kids picking up litter. "Look at that. They're cleaning the park," he said, impressed. "Yes, they are. It's great to see young people taking initiative," Mrs. Johnson replied. "Every little effort counts." They approached the group, and Alex introduced himself. "Hi there. I saw you all picking up trash. That's awesome." One of the kids, a girl named Mia, smiled proudly. "Thanks. We're trying to keep the park clean." "That's really important," Alex said, feeling inspired. "Would you like some help? I'm looking to volunteer in the community." "Sure. The more, the merrier," Maya replied, her enthusiasm infectious. As they joined the kids, Alex felt a sense of fulfillment. He worked alongside them, picking up litter and sharing stories. Mrs. Johnson watched with a smile, knowing she had sparked something special in Alex. After a while, they took a break and sat on a bench, catching their breath. "Thank you for today, Mrs. Johnson," Alex said, grateful for her encouragement. "I feel like I'm really starting to understand the impact of kindness." "You're welcome, dear," she replied, her eyes warm with pride. "You're on the right path. Keep writing, keep helping, and never stop learning." As they chatted, the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the park. Alex felt a sense of peace wash over him. This day had brought new experiences and new friendships, and he couldn't wait to see where this journey of kindness would lead him next. Spreading kindness. The following week, Alex was filled with excitement and determination. Inspired by his conversations with Mrs. Johnson, he wanted to take action and spread kindness in his community. He spent time in his journal, brainstorming ideas for a community project that could involve everyone. One day after class, he gathered a group of friends at the park. "Hey, everyone, I have an idea," Alex said, his voice brimming with enthusiasm. "Let's organize a community cleanup day. We can pick up trash, plant flowers, and maybe even help out at the community garden." His friends exchanged glances, unsure at first. But Alex's excitement was contagious. "It'll be fun. We can invite everyone to join us, and we can make a difference together." After a moment, One of his friends, Sam, spoke up. "I think that's a great idea. I'll help you spread the word." Encouraged by their support, Alex quickly drafted flyers detailing the cleanup day. He included the date, time, and the fun activities they planned. They posted the flyers around school, the park, and the local community center. As the day of the event approached, Alex felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. Would people show up? Would they be willing to help? He reminded himself that no matter what happened, he was taking a step to make a positive change. On the morning of the cleanup, Alex arrived at the park early. The sun shone brightly, and he set up a table with supplies: trash bags, gloves, and some snacks for volunteers. His heart raced as he waited for people to arrive. Slowly, familiar faces started to show up. Mia and her friends arrived first, eager and ready to help. "We're here to make the park look awesome," she declared with a big smile. As more people came, including Mrs. Johnson, Alex felt his confidence grow. She brought her own gardening tools, ready to plant flowers in the community garden. "I'm so proud of you for organizing this," she said, her voice warm with encouragement. With a big group gathered, Alex stood on a bench to address everyone. "Thank you all for coming. Today, we're going to clean up our park and help our community. Let's make this place beautiful together." Everyone cheered, and they quickly divided into teams. Some focused on picking up trash around the park, while others headed to the community garden. Alex was thrilled to see people working together, laughing, and enjoying the sunshine. As they worked, Alex moved around the park, chatting with volunteers. He learned more about their stories and why they wanted to help. Each conversation filled him with more inspiration and ideas for his journal. At one point, he noticed an elderly couple sitting on a nearby bench, watching the activity. Feeling a tug at his heart, Alex approached them. "Hi, would you like to join us?" he asked with a friendly smile. "Oh, we're just enjoying the lovely day," the woman replied, her eyes twinkling. "It's wonderful to see so many young people taking care of the park." "Thank you. We're trying to make it a better place for everyone," Alex said. "If you want, we have some water and snacks over there. You're welcome to take a break and enjoy the atmosphere." The couple exchanged smiles, and the man nodded. "That sounds lovely. Thank you, young man. You're doing a great job." Feeling proud, Alex returned to his team, who were busy picking up litter. As they worked, he shared stories about the importance of community and kindness. He noticed how everyone seemed to feel connected, sharing laughs and high fives. As the sun began to set, the park looked noticeably cleaner. Litter that once cluttered the grass was now gone, and colorful flowers were planted in the garden, adding beauty to the space. The sense of accomplishment was palpable among the volunteers. As they wrapped up, Alex called everyone together again. "Thank you all for your hard work today. This park is now a better place because of you. Let's make this a regular event." People cheered, and many expressed their desire to return for future cleanup days. Alex felt a swell of pride in his chest. This was only the beginning. Just as they finished packing up, Mrs. Johnson approached Alex. "I'm so impressed by your dedication," she said, her eyes shining with pride. "You've sparked something special here. Keep it going." After baking, they sat down with warm cookies and glasses of milk. "Thank you so much for teaching me," Alex said, savoring the sweet treat. "These are amazing." "You're very welcome. It's always nice to share something I love," Mrs. Johnson replied, her smile genuine and warm. "But remember, Alex, it's not just about the cookies. It's about the kindness and love we share with others." That evening, Alex returned home, feeling inspired. He wrote in his journal about the fun he had with Mrs. Johnson and how he wanted to share this kindness with everyone at school. He spent time thinking about how to make the kindness wall a success. The next day at school, Alex and his friends worked hard to set up the kindness wall in a prominent spot in the cafeteria. They decorated it with bright colors and hung up a large sign that read, "Spread kindness." Students were curious about the wall and began to gather around. Alex and Mia encouraged everyone to write positive notes and messages for others to read. Some students hesitated at first, unsure of what to say, but with a little encouragement, they began to share their thoughts. One by one, notes appeared on the wall, filled with words of appreciation, compliments, and uplifting messages. Alex watched as students smiled and read the notes, and the atmosphere in the cafeteria changed. There was a sense of joy and positivity that filled the space. As the days passed, the kindness wall became a central part of the school. Students began to look forward to writing their messages and reading the notes left by others. Alex felt a surge of happiness every time he saw someone reading a note or writing one of their own. One afternoon, as he was putting up new sticky notes, a classmate named Rachel approached him. "Hey, Alex, I wanted to thank you for this wall. It's really brightened up the school." Alex felt his heart swell with pride. "I'm glad you like it. We just wanted to create something that reminds everyone to be kind." Rachel smiled. "It really works. I've been feeling down lately, and reading the notes helped me a lot. It made me realize that I'm not alone." Her words touched Alex deeply. "That's exactly why we did this," he said. "Kindness can really make a difference." As the school year continued, Alex noticed a change in the atmosphere around him. Students seemed to be kinder to each other, and he felt a growing sense of community. The kindness wall not only provided words of encouragement, but also created a space where people felt comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings. One day, while hanging new notes, Alex noticed a group of students writing messages together. They laughed and shared stories, and he realized that his simple idea had brought people closer. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction and joy, knowing that his efforts were making a real impact. At that moment, he understood the power of kindness. It was not just about the messages on the wall. It was about the connections formed and the positive change they were creating together. As the school year came to a close, Alex reflected on his journey. From the cleanup event to the kindness wall, he had learned that kindness could change lives. Inspired by his experiences and Mrs. Johnson's wisdom, he was determined to continue spreading kindness wherever he went. With a smile on his face, Alex looked forward to the future, excited to see how far kindness could go. The ripple effect. As summer approached, Alex's school year ended, but his journey of kindness was far from over. He felt a deep desire to continue spreading positivity in his community. Inspired by the success of the kindness wall, Alex began to brainstorm new ideas. What could he do next to make an even bigger impact? One sunny Saturday morning, while sitting in his backyard, Alex had a brilliant idea. "What if I organize a Day of Kindness event?" he thought. This event could bring the community together for a day filled with fun activities and opportunities to help others. Excited by the thought, he quickly grabbed his notebook and started jotting down ideas. Alex envisioned a day where people could participate in various kindness-themed activities. He wanted to include things like a bake sale, a community cleanup, and games that promoted teamwork and friendship. The idea of gathering people together to spread kindness made his heart race with anticipation. That afternoon, Alex shared his idea with Mia and a few other friends. "What do you think about hosting a Day of Kindness?" he asked, his eyes shining with enthusiasm. "We could invite everyone to join in and do something good for our community." Mia's face lit up. "I love it. We can create flyers to spread the word and get more people involved." As they planned the event, they decided to include a section where people could share their stories of kindness. This way, they could inspire others to join in and make a difference. They also reached out to local businesses for support, hoping to gather donations for their bake sale and other activities. Over the next few weeks, the excitement in the community grew. Word spread about the upcoming Day of Kindness, and people started signing up to volunteer. Alex was amazed by the support he received from his friends, family, and even neighbors he had never spoken to before. It seemed that everyone wanted to be part of something special. The day of the event finally arrived, and Alex woke up early, filled with energy. He helped set up the tables and decorations in the park, ensuring everything was ready for the big day. As people began to arrive, he felt a surge of happiness. Friends and strangers were coming together, united by a shared purpose. The park was filled with laughter, music, and the delicious aroma of baked goods. Children played games, while adults chatted and enjoyed the festivities. Alex felt a sense of pride as he watched his community come together, sharing smiles and kindness. As the day went on, Alex saw something beautiful happen. People started sharing their stories of kindness with one another. One woman spoke about how a simple act of kindness had changed her life during a difficult time. A young boy shared how he had helped an elderly neighbor with her groceries. Each story brought more smiles, laughter, and a sense of unity. Later in the day, Alex gathered everyone around for a short speech. He wanted to express his gratitude for their participation. "Thank you all for being here today," he said, his voice filled with emotion. This event shows how powerful kindness can be. Together, we can make a difference in our community. The crowd cheered, and Alex felt a wave of joy wash over him. He realized that the impact of kindness wasn't just about individual actions. It was about the connections formed and the inspiration shared. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Alex reflected on the day. The success of the Day of Kindness surpassed his expectations. He had seen firsthand how kindness could create a ripple effect, touching lives and fostering a sense of community. But the surprises were not over yet. As the event wrapped up, an elderly gentleman approached Alex. He introduced himself as Mr. Thompson, a local business owner. "I just wanted to say how impressed I am with what you've done today," he said with a warm smile. This event is a wonderful example of community spirit. Alex felt a bit shy, but grateful. "Thank you. I just wanted to bring everyone together and show that kindness matters." Mr. Thompson continued, "I'd like to offer you and your friends a chance to host this event every year. We can make it bigger and better, and I'd be happy to help with resources." Alex's eyes widened in disbelief. "Really? That would be amazing." Mr. Thompson nodded. "Absolutely. Your passion for kindness is inspiring, and I believe we can turn this into an annual event that the whole community looks forward to." Excitement bubbled within Alex as he exchanged contact information with Mr. Thompson. The prospect of making the Day of Kindness an annual tradition filled him with joy. He couldn't wait to tell Mia and the others about this incredible opportunity. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the park, Alex felt a sense of fulfillment wash over him. The Day of Kindness had not only brought joy to others, but had also created a path for even greater things to come. Alex realized that kindness was a journey, one that could lead to many unexpected places. He had begun this journey with small acts, but now he could see a bright future filled with possibilities. The community had come together, and they were ready to continue spreading kindness, making the world a better place, one act at a time. With renewed determination, Alex looked forward to what lay ahead. He was ready to embrace the challenges and adventures that would come with his mission to spread kindness far and wide. The new beginning. As the days turned into weeks after the successful Day of Kindness, Alex found himself buzzing with excitement about the future. He had spoken to Mr. Thompson, and together they began planning for next year's event. But Alex wanted to do even more in the meantime. He believed that kindness should not just be a one-day event. It should be a part of everyday life. One afternoon, while sitting in his favorite spot of the park, Alex watched the world around him. He saw children playing, couples walking hand in hand, and elderly people enjoying the fresh air. It struck him that there were countless small acts of kindness happening every day, often unnoticed. Inspired, he decided to create a project called Kindness Diaries, where people could share their daily acts of kindness, big or small. Alex reached out to Mia and a few friends, excitedly explaining his idea. "What if we create a website where people can log their acts of kindness? We could even have a section for people to write about how those acts made them feel." Mia loved the idea. "That's brilliant. We can encourage more people to join in and share their stories. It'll create a huge network of kindness." The group spent the next few days designing the website, choosing bright colors, and an easy-to-navigate layout. They included sections for stories, a blog, and tips for spreading kindness in everyday life. They even created a challenge where individuals could commit to performing a certain number of kind acts each month. Once the website was live, Alex was eager to spread the word. They printed flyers and created social media posts to reach more people. Alex felt a mix of nerves and excitement as he imagined how the community would react. Would people be willing to share their experiences? Would the project inspire them? The first few weeks were slow, with only a handful of entries. But then, one day, Alex received a notification. A local teacher named Ms. Ramirez had shared a touching story about how her students surprised her with handwritten notes of appreciation. "This made my day. It reminded me why I love teaching," she wrote. Alex beamed with joy. That was the moment he knew the kindness diaries were working. Encouraged by Ms. Ramirez's story, more people began to share their acts of kindness. From small gestures, like holding the door for someone, to larger ones, like organizing a community cleanup. The stories poured in. Before long, the kindness diaries became a hub of positivity in the community. People started visiting the website daily to read new stories and share their own. Alex felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment, knowing that his idea was helping to spread kindness even further. One day, as Alex was checking the entries, he noticed a story from a local elderly woman named Mrs. Jenkins. In her entry, she described how she had been feeling lonely since her husband passed away. But after reading the kindness diaries, she decided to host a tea party for her neighbors. The event brought everyone together, and she expressed her gratitude for the new friendships that blossomed. Moved by her story, Alex decided he wanted to do something special for Mrs. Jenkins. He thought it would be wonderful to organize a community gathering at the park in her honor. With the help of Mia and his friends, he sent out invitations to all the neighbors and asked them to bring their favorite snacks. On the day of the gathering, the park was buzzing with excitement. People arrived, carrying dishes of homemade cookies, sandwiches, and cakes. Alex set up a cozy area with blankets and chairs, making it inviting for everyone. When Mrs. Jenkins arrived, she was surprised and delighted to see so many familiar faces. "Thank you, everyone, for coming," Mrs. Jenkins said, her eyes glistening with happiness. "I never expected this, and it means the world to me." As they enjoyed the food and shared stories, Alex saw the joy on Mrs. Jenkins's face. It was moments like these that reminded him of the true power of kindness. He realized that kindness could not only change someone's day, but also strengthen community bonds. After the gathering, Alex felt inspired to keep the momentum going. He brainstormed more ideas for community events, such as potluck dinners, movie nights, and volunteer days. With each event, he hoped to bring people together and spread kindness in ways that would leave lasting impressions. Meanwhile, the kindness diaries continued to flourish. The more stories that were shared, the more inspiration it provided. Alex noticed that people were starting to form friendships, and many were committed to finding new ways to be kind every day. With the upcoming Day of Kindness event approaching again, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. He and his friends planned to make it even bigger, with more activities and opportunities for people to engage with one another. They wanted to create an atmosphere where kindness was celebrated and encouraged. As Alex reflected on how far he had come since he first started the Kindness Wall, he felt immense gratitude. What began as a small project had blossomed into something much greater, and it was all thanks to the incredible support of his community. Through kindness, he had learned about connection, resilience, and the importance of uplifting one another. Alex was excited to see what the future held, knowing that each act of kindness, no matter how small, could create a wave of positivity that would resonate far beyond his community. With determination in his heart, Alex looked forward to continuing this journey, eager to inspire others to join him in making the world a better place. The day of kindness, the day Alex had been waiting for, finally arrived. It was the much-anticipated day of kindness, and excitement buzzed in the air. The park was transformed into a vibrant space, filled with colorful banners, tables laden with delicious food, and activities for everyone to enjoy. Alex and his friends had worked tirelessly to organize the event, ensuring that there would be something for people of all ages. As the sun rose that morning, Alex could hardly contain his excitement. He arrived at the park early, making final touches to the setup. Mia and the others joined him, carrying balloons, decorations, and supplies for the activities planned throughout the day. The atmosphere was electric, filled with laughter and anticipation. "I can't believe it's finally here," Mia exclaimed, tying balloons to a nearby tree. "This is going to be amazing." "I know. I just hope everyone shows up and has a great time," Alex replied, glancing around the park, imagining how it would look once the community arrived. As the clock struck 10, the first families began to trickle in. Alex greeted everyone with a smile, directing them to the various activities. Children dashed to the face-painting booth, while adults gathered around the kindness wall, where they could write their own messages of appreciation and share stories of kind acts they had experienced or witnessed. The day was filled with laughter and joy. There were games for children, a talent show showcasing local performers, and a photo booth where families could capture memories. As people mingled, the spirit of kindness was palpable, and it felt as if the whole community was united in one purpose. At midday, Alex took a moment to step back and observe the event. He saw Mrs. Jenkins chatting with other neighbors, sharing stories and laughter. He noticed the children giggling as they played games, their faces painted with bright colors. Everywhere he looked, he saw smiles, and it warmed his heart. Then it was time for the talent show. Alex had arranged for local performers to take the stage and showcase their talents. As he introduced the first act, a young girl named Emily who loved to sing, he felt a surge of pride. This was not just an event. It was a celebration of community and kindness. Emily sang beautifully, her voice echoing through the park. The crowd cheered and clapped, creating an atmosphere of support and encouragement. After her performance, she beamed with joy, clearly happy to have shared her talent with everyone. As the talent show continued, various performers took to the stage, each bringing their unique flair. There were dancers, musicians, and even a magician who left the audience in awe. Each act was met with thunderous applause, reinforcing the idea that everyone had something valuable to offer. After the show, Alex invited everyone to gather around for the final surprise of the day. He had arranged for a local charity to speak about their work and the importance of kindness in the community. The representative shared stories of individuals who had been impacted by acts of kindness, emphasizing how small gestures could make a big difference. "Remember, kindness is not just for one day," the representative said, looking out at the crowd. "It's something we can all carry with us every day of our lives. It doesn't take much. Just a simple smile or a helping hand can change someone's world." The audience nodded, and Alex felt a swell of pride. The Day of Kindness was not just about the activities. It was about creating a culture of kindness that would last beyond the event. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Alex gathered everyone together for one last activity. He encouraged each person to take a moment to reflect on their favorite act of kindness they had witnessed or experienced that day. "I want us all to share one act of kindness we saw today," he said, his voice filled with enthusiasm. "Let's celebrate the kindness we've spread and inspire each other to continue this journey." One by one, people shared their stories. A little boy spoke about how he helped a neighbor carry groceries. A teenager shared how he complimented a stranger, which made them smile. Mrs. Jenkins talked about the new friendships she had formed throughout the day. Each story brought laughter, tears, and a sense of community that filled Alex with joy. As the event came to an end, Alex looked around at the smiling faces of his friends, family, and neighbors. He felt an overwhelming sense of accomplishment. The Day of Kindness had been a huge success, and he knew that the ripple effect of kindness would continue to spread throughout the community. With hugs and goodbyes, people began to leave, their hearts full of joy and inspiration. As the park grew quiet, Alex, Mia, and their friends sat together, exhausted but happy. "We did it," Mia exclaimed, her eyes shining. This was the best day ever. Alex smiled, feeling grateful for everyone who contributed to the event's success. "Thank you all for believing in this idea and for making it a reality," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "Let's keep this going. Kindness doesn't stop here." As they packed up, Alex realized that this was just the beginning. The Kindness Diaries would continue to thrive, and he would work to ensure that the spirit of kindness lived on in their community. With newfound determination, he looked toward the future, excited for all the possibilities that lay ahead. The Day of Kindness had shown him the power of community, connection, and the importance of spreading kindness every day. And with that, Alex knew he would dedicate himself to making the world a better place, one act of kindness at a time.